Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be tackling a topic that has fascinated humanity for centuries: time travel.
Time travel is a topic that has captured the imaginations of scientists, philosophers, and artists for generations.
And we're going to be diving into the science, the theories, and even a real-life mystery that might just make you a believer.
Buckle up, because we're going on a journey through the twists and turns of time itself.
Now later on in this deep dive, we'll be exploring the story of a man who appeared in Brisbane, Australia, claiming to be from 1924.
It's a case known as the Brisbane Anomaly, and it's a real head-scratcher.
Vintage clothes, an old pocket watch, and incredibly detailed knowledge of a bygone era. But we'll save that fascinating story for the end, so stick with us.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's start with the basics. What does science have to say about the possibility of time travel?
Well, the seeds of time travel thinking were planted by none other than Albert Einstein. His theory of relativity really revolutionized our understanding of time, didn't it?
It absolutely did. One of the key takeaways from Einstein's work is the idea that time isn't absolute, it's relative.
Okay, so you're saying time isn't a constant, unchanging thing.
Exactly. Time is more like a river, flowing at different speeds in different places.
Whoa, okay. I'm already getting a little lost here. Can you give me an example?
Sure, think of it this way. Just as a kayak moves faster in a strong current, time speeds up or slows down depending on the gravitational forces around it.
So are you talking about things like how clocks on airplanes run slower than clocks on the ground? I've heard that's a real thing.
You heard correctly. That's time dilation in action. Because airplanes are moving at high speeds, time passes just a tiny bit slower for them compared to objects on the ground.
Okay, that's pretty mind-blowing. But what about the kind of time travel we see in movies, hopping in a time machine and blasting to the past?
That kind of time travel, traveling to a specific point in time, past or future, requires something called closed time-like curves, or CTCs.
CTCs, those sound pretty sci-fi to me. What are they exactly?
CTCs are theoretical pathways in space-time that loop back on themselves, creating a possible pathway for time travel.
Okay, so they're like loops in time.
Exactly.
But are those even remotely possible according to physics?
It's a bit of a gray area. The mathematics of Einstein's theory actually does allow for the possibility of CTCs. However, they require some extremely unusual conditions to exist.
So what kind of conditions are we talking about here?
We're talking about things like wormholes or cosmic strings.
Wormholes and cosmic strings. That sounds like something straight out of, well, science fiction.
It does, doesn't it? And they're still very theoretical concepts.
So we're kind of venturing into the fringes of our understanding here.
Exactly. We're going where even the most brilliant physicists are still trying to figure things out.
Well, I'm certainly intrigued. I gotta admit, this is already making me rethink everything I thought I knew about time. But tell me, are there any theories out there that try to address the whole idea of paradoxes in time travel? Like, what if you went back in time and accidentally prevented your own birth?
It's a classic problem, isn't it? The grandfather paradox.
It is. How could you even exist if you changed the past in a way that prevented your own existence in the first place?
Well, one of the most interesting ideas is the Novikov self-consistency principle. This theory suggests that if time travel is possible, the universe itself would prevent those paradoxes from happening.
So it's like some kind of cosmic safeguard.
You could think of it that way. It's the idea that any actions a time traveler took would already be woven into the fabric of history.
Yeah.
So you couldn't actually change anything that would create a contradiction.
So even if you went back in time, you wouldn't actually be able to change anything because your actions are already part of the timeline.
Precisely.
That's really making my head spin.
Yeah.
It's like predestination, right?
It's a very mind-bending concept.
It certainly is. But speaking of pushing boundaries, what about this new research I've been hearing about? The research that suggests paradox-free time travel might actually be mathematically possible.
Ah, yes. Scientists at the University of Queensland have been exploring some really fascinating mathematics. Their findings have generated a lot of excitement.
So there's actual scientific research happening right now that suggests time travel might not just be science fiction.
It is. But it's important to remember that we are talking about early theoretical findings. We need much more research, experimentation, and validation before anyone starts building time machines.
Okay, so time machines may still be a ways off. But I'm ready to dive into a real-life mystery that might just make you believe in the impossible. Remember that story I mentioned at the beginning about a man claiming to be from 1924?
I do. I'm ready to hear all about it.
Okay, picture this. It's August 14th, 2024, in Brisbane, Australia. A local resident named Emily Watson is walking near the Brisbane City Hall when she encounters a man who looks completely out of place.
Out of place how?
He's dressed in what looks like vintage clothing from the 1920s, and he seems utterly confused and lost.
That would definitely turn some heads.
It gets even better. He introduces himself as James Collins and says he's from the year 1924.
From 1924, what did he say how he ended up in the 21st century?
Not exactly.
Yeah.
But Emily, being a kind soul, takes him to the nearest police station. And there, things take an even stranger turn.
Oh. What happened at the police station?
Well, Collins has this pocket watch. It's engraved with the year 1919.
1919, wow.
No, and he starts sharing incredibly detailed stories about early 20th century Brisbane. Details that seem to confirm his story.
That's unbelievable. So what did the police do? They must have been floored. Did they believe him? Or did they think he was just putting on some kind of act?
Well, the police were definitely skeptical at first. I mean, who wouldn't be? They thought maybe he was delusional, putting on a show, or even suffering from some kind of amnesia.
Makes sense.
So naturally, they decided to investigate. They ran his fingerprints and his DNA through all their databases.
And what did they find?
Nothing. Absolutely no match. There was no record of a James Collins anywhere.
No record at all. That's crazy. Even if he was trying to pull off a hoax, he must have gone to some serious lengths to create a brand new identity, especially in this day and age.
Exactly. And it wasn't just that. His knowledge of historical events and all the details of old Brisbane, it was just too accurate to be easily dismissed. It really was like he'd stepped out of a time capsule.
Wow. So what happened next?
The whole thing became a sensation. The Brisbane Anomaly, as it's now known, sparked all sorts of debates and theories.
I bet. So what were some of the explanations people came up with? Was time travel the main theory?
Oh, there were all sorts of theories flying around. Some people thought Collins might have been suffering from a really rare psychological condition, one that caused him to actually believe he was from the past with all these vivid false memories.
That's an interesting theory.
Right. And then others thought it was all just an elaborate hoax, maybe put on by a performance artist or someone who knew a lot about history and was really good at creating convincing backstories.
I could see that too. It would take a lot of planning and dedication to pull that off.
Definitely. But, even with all the logical explanations, there's still that little part of you that wants to believe in something more extraordinary.
Yeah.
What if James Collins really was a time traveler? I mean, there's no scientific proof, but it's a tantalizing possibility.
I agree. It's a story that really captures your imagination and makes you wonder about what's really possible. What if everything we think we know about time and reality is just the tip of the iceberg?
Even if we never find out the truth about James Collins, the fact that stories like this exist is pretty amazing. It keeps us questioning and pushing the boundaries of what we think is possible.
Right. And speaking of pushing boundaries, earlier we were talking about Einstein's relativity and CTCs. All those mind-bending concepts really make you see time in a completely different way.
They do. It's like you're peeling back the layers of reality and finding something way more complex and interesting than you ever imagined.
Totally. And it really shows how much we still don't know about the universe and how it all works. But that's what makes science so exciting. The pursuit of understanding keeps us moving forward. Who knows what incredible discoveries await us in the future?
Well, for now, practical time travel still seems to be out of our reach. But even the idea of it makes us think differently and challenge what we believe about the universe. It's like opening a door to endless possibilities.
Well said. But what about James Collins? Did the authorities ever figure out what happened to him?
Well, that's the thing. The story ends on kind of a mysterious note.
Yeah.
After trying everything they could think of, the authorities couldn't come up with any definitive answers. In the end, they just helped Collins adjust to modern life. It's almost like they admitted that the mystery was too complex to solve.
So the mystery lives on. It's cases like this that fuel our fascination with time travel. They make us wonder if somewhere out there, woven into the very fabric of space-time, there are hidden doorways to other times and realities.
It's really something to think about, isn't it? If time travel were really possible, what would you do? Would you go back in time to witness some major historical event? Would you travel to the future to see what's in store for humanity? Or would you just want to observe the flow of time from a safe distance?
It's a question that sparks endless debate. And I think that's the beauty of it. Even just as a theoretical concept, time travel forces us to confront our own values and our place in the universe. It makes us think about cause and effect. What about you? What would you do if you had the ability to travel through time?
That's a tough one. So many possibilities. But I think I'd want to go back and witness a historical event that changed the course of the world. Maybe travel to ancient Rome or watch a crucial battle unfold. To actually experience those events firsthand, that would be incredible.
I can see the appeal of that. Experiencing history instead of just reading about it would be amazing. It's like the difference between seeing a picture of a stunning landscape and actually being there, feeling the wind, and taking it all in.
Exactly. But then again, maybe I would be tempted to peek into the future. Just a little glimpse to see what's ahead for us. Who knows, maybe I'd get to see some groundbreaking discoveries or incredible new technologies.
Those are some exciting thoughts. But whether we journey to the past, the future, or just stand in awe of the present moment, it's clear that time is a precious and mysterious force. And even if we never unlock all its secrets, the pursuit of understanding is an incredible journey.
Well said. And on that note, we've come to the end of our deep dive. It's been quite a ride, exploring everything from Einstein's mind-bending theories to the captivating mystery of the Brisbane Anomaly. It's crazy how a story like the Brisbane Anomaly can really make you question everything you thought you knew about time and reality.
It really does. And I think it just goes to show how much we still have to learn. And it
Yeah.
reminds us that even with all our technology and scientific advances, there are still mysteries out there that we just can't explain. The Brisbane Anomaly is a perfect example of that.
It really blurs the lines between fact and fiction.
It does. It leaves us with more questions than answers, that's for sure.
But that's part of what makes it so fascinating, right?
Yeah,
The unknown has always had a powerful pull on humanity.
absolutely. It's what drives us to explore, to question, to push the boundaries of what we think is possible.
I think that's a big part of what we do here on the deep dive, wouldn't you say?
I'd say so. And even if we never find out the definitive truth behind the Brisbane anomaly, it's a good reminder that the universe is vast and there are endless possibilities that we may never fully grasp.
It's humbling in a way, isn't it?
It is. It's a testament to the power of the human imagination and our never-ending curiosity about the world around us.
So maybe we'll never actually achieve time travel, but just the idea of it sparks our creativity and challenges our assumptions.
It gets us thinking about the universe in new ways, and that's a journey worth taking, even if it's just a journey of the mind.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into the world of time travel. From Einstein's mind-bending theories to the mystery of the Brisbane anomaly, it's been quite an adventure.
It really has, and I hope everyone listening has enjoyed it as much as we have.
If you're as fascinated by time travel as we are, let us know. Head over to the comments section and share your thoughts. What would you do if you had a time machine? What adventures would you go on?
And if you'd like to join us for more deep dives into the fascinating and unknown, make sure you subscribe to the Deep Dive. We'll be back with more mind-blowing topics and captivating stories that will challenge everything you thought you knew.
Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never lose that sense of wonder. After all, time is a precious and mysterious thing. Thanks for listening.